This is a Rhinowisdom Beauty Airbrush system. I was given this to review for free. If you wanted to purchase one, it would cost you between $30 and $32, depending on which color you picked out. They haven't paid me for this review, so my opinions are my own. So this is advertised as a beauty airbrush system. They have pictures of people applying nail polish or makeup with it. They also have pictures of people decorating cakes with it. And my interest is painting models. So at this price point, I'm not expecting this to be the highest quality airbrush, but since I don't have an airbrush currently, anything is better than what I don't have. So we have lots of little parts in here, and kind of interesting thing about this airbrush system, for those of you who might not have a compressor, is that it includes its own little rechargeable USB-C charging compressor. And you just push the button for 3 different air compression levels. Now you can attach the main body of the airbrush to this little compressor directly, so you can kind of hand hold the whole thing, or they have a tube, probably in this box of accessories, that will allow you to put the compressor on the table and hold just this with the tube attached. So there is this connection tube that will run this guy separately. So this feels hefty in my hand. It's aluminum, I believe, anodized. It feels pretty heavy. All right, they show pictures in the listing of this just being attached and you hand holding it, but given this thing is surprisingly hefty, I'm just going to use it separately and have this guy on the wire. Now they give you some large and medium cups in addition to the little small cup. I could see maybe if you were doing body art or something, you might need the large cups, but for fingernails and little tiny models like I'm going to be doing, this little cup here is going to be just fine. And so you just turn it on and pull this back to spray the paint. They also give you an extra nozzle and needle and some cleaning brushes. There is also the USB A to C charging cable. So when it turns on, that's the highest setting. It's audible, but it's not bad. And when you pull this, air is coming out entirely all the time. When you pull this back, the paint will come out as well. So let me go find something that needs some painting and paint this thing. Nice thing about this being portable like this is if you don't have a paint booth, you can just take it outside and paint it outside if the weather's okay. Alright, this is just water in an attempt to illustrate the spray pattern. This is the lowest setting. Hopefully you'll be able to see that in the video. Here's medium setting. And here's the highest pressure setting. They also have, of course, the adjustment back here. So that's tight. And that's wide open. Well, not all the way wide open. Let's go farther. Not sure how far back this thing will go. That's about as open as it's going to get. Alright, let's put some paint in and try it out. I've mixed up something that's approximately 2 parts water to 1 part acrylic paint. Don't judge the airbrush based on me, because this is the first time I'm using the airbrush or mixing paint for it, but let's just see how this is going to work out. It definitely seems to be painting. There seem to be little spots. It's possible I have not mixed my paint enough. Yeah, it's spluttering now. I think my paint is not mixed enough, or I don't have enough water, because it is acrylic paint. It's not like an ink-based paint. I expect you want extremely thin paint for an airbrush. I'm going to flip it up to a higher pressure here. I might have to go clean my nozzle. Well, it's kind of working. Basically like a mini spray can. I think this all comes down to how well you've mixed your paint and the consistency of your paint. But I've decided maybe this configuration without the wire is actually more useful, just because you can set this down and the gun won't tip over and drop all your stuff. It's a little bit heavier to hold on to. I'm going to try it out and see what I think about it. Now my paint is pretty watered down. You can see it's more of a gray than a black here, but you can do multiple coats, so that's what I'm doing. Obviously I need to mix my paint better, make it thinner, or use actual airbrush paint as opposed to just acrylic paint. It appears to be clogging my nozzle and coming out in spurts a little bit. As I said, this is probably me and my paint more than the airbrush. Presumably, if you're using this airbrush, you know how to mix the paints correctly, which is something I'm going to learn with the starter airbrush. It is coming out. Turned up the pressure all the way. I'm opening my nozzle a bit. It's working. It goes through paint surprisingly fast. I thought with model painting, this tiny little thing here would be all I need. It's going through paint a lot fast. Of course, this is a big model, as models go, but still. I might switch up to one of the plastic containers so I can see how much I have left. So opposed to using a spray can, with the small nozzle, I can easily hit small areas underneath in the middle. So I will have to turn this guy over and spray the bottom a little bit just to get the bottom of the feet, if nothing else. But I'm getting a lot of control, and I can get into small areas, and if I see an area that hasn't got enough paint, I can very specifically hit a small area. So I do like, you know, something like this for a small model like this, as opposed to just, you know, trying to use a rattle can. All right, we're going to try to get a small area here. So yeah, that worked pretty well. Alright, given that I've never used an airbrush before, this guy worked exactly how I expected an airbrush to work. I have no reservations about recommending this as a beginner airbrush. It's a relatively low-cost purchase, and it seemed to work just fine. I mean, I just threw some 2 parts water, 1 part acrylic paint mixture in here, and it just sprayed it just fine, kind of like a mini spray can. So I'm quite happy with this guy.